Hey everybody, it's Mr. Bierbauer. This week we're going to be doing an artist study where we're going to be learning about a specific artist. And this week we're going to be learning about Vasily Kandinsky, the artist who painted Composition 8 over here, which we learned about when we were doing lines. The only materials you'll need this week are going to be paper and crayons or something else to color with. We're going to start with our artist promise. As artists, we will always try our best, respect ourselves, our friends, and our artwork, take responsibility, imagine new things, support each other, and take time to clean up. Today, our I can statement is I can use shapes and colors to make art inspired by Vasily Kandinsky. I will be showing you how to do the one right here with the 4 circles, but I'm going to also explain how you could do 8 circles instead if you wanted an extra challenge. And then if you don't have crayons or other colors at home, up here there's a pencil example where you can do the same thing just with patterns and shading. And I'm going to explain that too. Now first of all, what do we remember about Kandinsky's Composition 8? We learned about it when we were learning about lines. So remember there's all kinds of lines in it. There are up and down vertical lines, across horizontal lines, there's lots of diagonal lines, and it has a sense of movement as it pulls your eye around the paper with all these different lines. And we're going to watch a video in a minute that kind of explains that movement that I'm talking about. First of all, just a little bit about Mr. Kandinsky. He was born in 1866 and died in 1944. He lived in Russia and he worked in Germany. He studied law and economics, but then he decided he would rather do art. So he became an art teacher and an artist. One of his inspirations for learning about art was when he went and saw an exhibit by Monet. And you may remember we learned a little bit about Monet the first week when we looked at his picture of the footbridge. Now, this picture here, Wheat Stacks by Monet, Kandinsky loved, but he was more interested in the colors and the shapes in the paintings than in the objects themselves. So instead of looking at the big haystacks, he was much more interested in all the colors, like in the shadows and the background. So over here, the Blue Rider is one of Kandinsky's first paintings, and you can see it has a lot of similarities to Wheat Stacks. Kandinsky actually did put a person and a horse in here, but they're not very clear. He's focusing more, again, on the background, the different colors. And this led him to develop a new style called abstract art. He decided he didn't really need a specific realistic subject in his paintings. He wanted to focus on those shapes and colors instead. These are 2 of his early ones that he did abstract. They still have a little bit of a subject you can see. Like in the cow, you can see there's a lady milking a cow, but there's a lot of different shapes and colors that he focuses on more than just the picture. And over here in lyrical, it looks like maybe that's a horse. But again, it's focusing on the shapes and the colors and the lines and not on the objects. One of the reasons Kandinsky may have done this is because he had a condition called synesthesia, where his brain would mix up and combine different senses so he could hear colors and see sounds. For example, whenever he heard, or when he saw a red, he would hear like a low violin sound. And when he saw an orange or a yellow, he heard like a trumpet. Now, besides that, he loved music for a lot of different reasons. He enjoyed playing the cello and the piano, and he even used the titles of types of music to title his artworks. So a composition in music is a piece of music, and a lot of his artworks he called compositions. And an improvisation, like right here, is usually music that you make up as you go, and he used that title too. He was friends with some famous composers and musicians, so after going to see a concert, a lot of times he would get inspired and make art based off of the music he heard. Alright, so we're going to watch a quick video where someone has taken the picture Composition 8 of Kandinsky's and added music to it, and animation. This music is a famous piece of music called The Rite of Spring by Stravinsky. So this is what I was talking about, movement in the painting. Wasn't that just so cool? That's what I'm talking about when I say a painting has movement in it. It doesn't really move, but it makes your eye go everywhere like that ball. And it's got a sense of movement, even if it doesn't really have movement. And so you can see how Kandinsky could have been influenced by a lot of the music. Right. Another thing Kandinsky really loved using was different colors. He knew different colors could make us feel different emotions. So let's look at some of these faces here and think about the emotions the colors make us feel. Like you can see all these yellow ones here are very happy or joyful. I don't know if you've ever seen Inside Out, the movie Inside Out, but they used a lot of colors with emotions too. Like joy is yellow. Down here, this one could be scared or embarrassed, or like Inside Out, angry. The green ones look maybe sad or confused, maybe sick, and then the blue ones are definitely sadness, like sadness in Inside Out. All right, this is the painting we're going to be looking at today, and it's actually not an official finished painting. It's a color study, which means that it's just a practice where you're exploring different color combinations. So he put a lot of different colors beside each other just to see how they look or how they work together. And then he used those in his other paintings. This one here is called Squares with Concentric Circles. And concentric circles, as you look at them, they have one dot or one center, and then all the circles go out from the center, kind of like a target. We're going to watch our demonstration about Kandinsky circles.
Okay, for our Kandinsky circles, we're just going to need two things. We're going to need paper and crayons. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by folding our paper in half across. So just fold that straight across, crease it down really good. And then we're going to take that same one and we're going to fold it down towards us. Okay. Then we're going to open it back up and we should have 4 sections. Perfect. Now, we're going to start by taking any crayon you want and just doing a small circle in the middle of one of those sections. Then we're going to take another crayon and do a concentric circle around it. And again, if you're using something else, that's fine too. You can see it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. And then we're going to just keep going with that until we fill up one square of our paper. I'm going to show you one thing as we get close to the edges. And remember, this is just a color study, so we're focusing just as much on seeing how different colors look beside each other, but then making sure everything is perfect and neat. So since I know that purple and yellow are complementary colors, I'm going to put those right beside each other to make them pop out. And you'll see I'll do one of these whole sets of circles just in our cool colors, so our blues and greens and purples, and I'll do one set just in warm colors, our reds and yellows and oranges, so you can see how different they are from each other. You can see using the yellow right beside the purple, it picked up a little bit of the purple in the color there, which a lot of times is something I try to avoid, but I think it works well with this being just a study. You could make one square of this with circles, just all a pattern, like A, B back and forth, red and blue, or something else, or you could use all different ones. Well, that wasn't a great circle, but again, it's a color study. Here's what I want us to pay attention to. As we get right up here to the edge, I'm going to fold it back so it's easier for you guys to see. We want to make sure that we don't take our circles from one square into another square. So that means when you get up to the side of the square, you're just going to go right to the edge. And you're not going to finish this circle down here into the next square. You can see I'm using the side of my crayon when I get a chance to, because it'll cover a little bit more space and it'll also help keep my crayon kind of sharp. I'm trying not to spin my paper around too much this time, guys, so you don't get too dizzy like before. I'm going to switch to the speedy cam for the rest of it so you can see how we go. Once you fill up your space most of the way with your circles, feel free just to use a solid background color. Okay, so here are my finished Kandinsky circles. You can see they're all concentric circles centering on a center point. Over here I used warm colors so they pop out towards you, especially with a cool background. Down here I used cool colors against a warm background so they look like they go away from you. Now here's a couple other options. If you want to get a little bit more detailed, you could always fold your paper into 8 sections and do 8 circles. And then I know some people may not even have colors at home, so you could use black and white and just do different designs and different shades. Still doing the same thing with circles, just filling those circles in with different designs and shades so they pop out against each other.
All right, let's review those steps really quickly. The first step is you're going to fold your paper into 4 sections. Remember, you could fold it in 8 if you wanted an extra challenge. Then you're going to color each section with concentric circles going out from the middle. Color the background of each section a solid color, and you can fold it back up like that if it's easier to get to the points, to the corners. You're going to make sure you use combinations of different colors to try different colors beside each other. Remember, that's what we're focused on. We're trying colors to see how they work together. It's okay if you have little white spots or if it's not completely neat or if you overlap, because it's a study. We're practicing. And then 5, I want you to show off what you did and make sure to turn it in on Canvas. When you're there, take a look back, see if there's any other Canvas assignments you haven't done yet for me. Make sure to turn those in too. Thanks, y'all, and have a great week.